evening. Thanks for joining us for another edition of Blue Ridge Excursions. I'm Jack Neal. This week we're in the Community Arboretum on the campus of Virginia Western Community College to begin another look at this fascinating region. We'll visit with an instrument maker in Bedford County, attend harp camp in Roanoke County, meet a glassblower in Floyd, check out Smith Mountain Lake State Park, and get acquainted with another one of Blue Ridge Public Television's Young Heroes. That's quite an agenda, I know, so let's get started. First off, we'll begin the evening with music. We'd like to take you now to Bedford County to meet James Jones. He makes the instruments that make the music. While he focuses primarily on hammered dulcimers, he builds all kinds of instruments. Now let's join James for a little music and a tour of his shop.
I got started nearly 20 years ago. I was working in the graduate program at Mass College of Art and was actually involved in a program called the Arts and Human Services Project. And that was a project that was designed to help people with disabilities accomplish something in a craft. Well, I was involved in the woodworking portion of that project, and one of the participants in that project wanted to build a hammer dulcimer. I didn't even know what a hammer dulcimer was at the time, and we did a lot of research and so forth. To make a long story short, never ultimately finished a hammer dulcimer, but I got very interested in personally, and I really wanted something tangible to do with my hands, and building a hammer dulcimer seemed like a logical thing to try. So we never succeeded in building one in the workshop, but I ultimately rented some wood shop space in Boston at the time and started building my first hammer dulcimer.
James and his wife moved from Boston to rural Bedford.
We moved down here, and my first shop and her first weaving studio was in this little farmhouse over on the other side of Bedford near Huddleston. And we lived in that for 8 years. Well, I had my machines on the porch, and I had my workbench and hand tools and so forth in an upstairs bedroom, and I couldn't stand up in the upstairs bedroom. I had to sort of hunch to work. That's maybe why I have such bad posture now. I don't know.
His workshop progressed from a cramped bedroom to a trailer to where he's located now.
We bought this place, and one other fellow and I built the shop that we're standing in now. It's made things a little easier to have this kind of shop. There's a lot of mystery surrounding instrument making, but for the most part, you're using conventional woodworking equipment. And obviously, I use a lot of machinery because if you're doing this for a living, the faster you are able to do something, the more money you make per hour. And in this day and time, I can't afford to do everything with just hand tools. You know, it just takes too long. And people couldn't afford my instruments then. So I use you know, bandsaws, planers, sanders, all sorts. I do use hand tools, like I'm working on some bridges over there. And it depends on the instrument, too. I got started making the hammer dulcimer, and I'm most well known for that instrument. I've been building that since I started making instruments nearly 20 years ago. But in order to sort of keep my interest up, I felt like I wanted to make other instruments. I wanted to try to make other instruments. I wanted to learn how they were made. And each musical instrument offers its own unique challenges. Some of them are very easy to make, like little zithers. Bode Psaltery is another instrument I make. Again, a very accessible and quite an easy instrument to make. Slit drums, again, that's a very easy instrument to play and to make. Let's see, mountain dulcimers, Appalachian dulcimers. Then I also make Irish bouzouki's or octave mandolins, and that's a fretted instrument. Then more complicated, make 3 models of harps. As you can see in the background, there's a couple in process. Those are classified as Celtic harps or nylon folk harps. Making a hammer dulcimer is really pretty straightforward. The principles, though, are the same for just about any musical instrument. You know, what you've got with a musical instrument and what you've got with a hammer dulcimer is you've got a sound box, and you've got a back, and you've got some mechanism for anchoring the strings and tuning the strings, and you've got bridges which make the strings accessible to you. You know, that is sort of in a nutshell, but obviously there's a lot of things that go into making a musical instrument that are not strictly acoustic, and they're more decorative. You know, like I've got binding on this particular instrument, different woods in the frame, a pin panel veneer here, which is decorative, that's a curly maple. And then my sound holes on my hammer dulcimers, every one of those designs are different for each instrument I build. So I built over 1,150 hammer dulcimers, and they all have a different design. Over the years, I've made a lot of dust.
For more information about James Jones or his work, you can visit him on the web at www.jamesjonesinstruments.com.